So you want to play a Shadow Lord. Good luck to you. Shadow Lords can be some of the most difficult and rewarding tribes to play. They're highly distrusted, they're highly disliked, but they're so highly rewarding. If you're playing a Shadow Lord, you got to keep a few things in mind. First and foremost is understand how this tribe works. It is the beta tribe. They function by testing the leaders. They make the Silverfangs' life difficult. And others. Not the Silverfangs are in charge all the time, not anymore. But they excel in testing the Silverfangs and the other leaders. They excel in pushing them to the limits. Quite a chunk of Shadow Lords believe they should be ruling. They should be in charge. And with the canon genre, the Margrave Konetskio has pretty much started dominating most of Europe as a Shadow Lord. It's not a Silverfang dominating, it's a Shadow Lord. So they're starting to move up the ranks a little bit to the point where they're about ready to maybe make a move against the Silverfangs as a whole. They have a very tyrannical type structure to their tribe. That's kind of reflected in their camps. And you got to understand their camps because you're going to become one eventually if you're playing one. The biggest camp and the most populous and most important camp are the Lords of the Summit. Now, the Lords of the Summit, they believe that they should rule. And they're all about power. They're all about megalomania and power madness. They're all about the strong, the strong should rule, that everything you do should be promoting the Shadow Lords as a whole. And you should be promoting yourself as well. There's also the Children of Crow. Children of Crow don't necessarily believe they should lead, but they push for the best leader. So they'll support a strong Shadow Lord, but they'll support a stronger Silverfang over that Shadow Lord. And it's important to realize because Crow used to be the totem of the tribe before Grandfather Thunder usurped the position. So not only do they serve a purpose, they're a legacy to boot. You've got other camps. I mean, the most famous of camps is the Judges of Doom. The Judges, well, there's two types of judges, really. There's the ones that are fanatical about the litany and about crimes. If they think a guru has committed a crime, they will execute them. Those kind of judges are very feared. They're respected and feared in their own right. The other kind, well, they just use it to murder. And as much as you'd say, there are quite a few of those. And quite a few players kind of gravitate to that position because they like that power. You got the Bringers of Light, which I don't think is a very player-friendly camp, but people love to go that direction. Just because it's something different for them, and they wanna kind of abuse it. See, and that's really all the camps that they really bring to the table. But the Shadow Lords, they are so secretive and so ruthless and cunning. They kind of thrive on something called secret societies. Now, there's something called the Children of the Bat. They believe that Bat as a totem is worthy. Bat is a worm totem. Black spirals are a lot of times dedicated to Bat, and a lot of people won't view that as a good thing. But by canon genre, there's a pack of Shadow Lords in Central America that have recovered a portion of Bat that has not given himself over to the hate and is basically Gaian once more. Now, some people don't suspect that that's true, but it's part of genre now, and the Children of Bat is not so... It's kind of an open secret society now. It's not a secret anymore. And it's interesting. Then you got, like, the Lazarite movement. The Lazarite movement is really interesting in the fact that it's Shadow Lord based, but it extends out because it's about Metis. It's a solidarity movement by Metis. And it's interesting. I mean, but it's, you don't want to be caught. There's the masks. The masks, how do you describe them? They're almost terroristic in nature. They kind of go with fear in a lot of ways. They're almost like the PIRA was to the IRA. They're almost like this uber violent version of the Judges of Doom. Then you got the Society of Night Dog. Now, the Society of Night Dog, how do I describe them? They're the dirty secret. They are to the Shadow Lords what the Swords of Heimdall are to the Get, what the Fundies are to the Fianna, and so on. They've all but fallen to the worm. Now, we were part of an organization called TGN. In TGN, there were some characters that actually had more or less hunted them almost to extinction. Almost. Problem is, there's a guy called the Nightmaster. He dwells in the Abyss. He's a member, and he exists, and he wasn't killed. So the Society of Night Dog lives on. It might not be as powerful as it once was, because they used to be very, very powerful amongst Shadow Lords, but there's a void, there's a gap, and nature abhors a vacuum, and the Society of Night Dog inevitably will rise again. Those are the ones you're going to find in the Tribe book. There's also some others that are out there that were pulled from earlier editions. One of the ones that I've used extensively is the Shadow Lord Revolutionary Guard. Now, these guys are like the Lords of the Summit on crack. I believe they're made up of primarily Philodox and Arun. And they believe that the Shadow Lords should be the strong tribe. They should be the number one tribe. They take a different route because they will murder their way to the top. They have no problem killing a strong Gaian Silverfang leader to put one of their members in charge, or another Shadow Lord in charge. They prefer their members, obviously. A couple things about them. I mean, like I said, I've used them. There are some ways for them to identify each other, and so on. A lot of Lords of the Summit that qualify get recruited into them secretly. When you look at how that they work, you have to look at the totem itself, Grandfather Thunder. Most of the other spirits that work under Grandfather Thunder are some aspect. You will almost never talk to Grandfather Thunder directly. Grandfather Thunder speaks through his Stormcrows. So you try to summon Grandfather Thunder, chances are a Stormcrow is going to appear and be like his herald. He is going to reveal to you what you need to know. And that's how you deal with him, because in the end, Grandfather Thunder is a very apathetic totem. He don't care about you. It's a business deal in a way. It's an alliance of convenience. Grandfather Thunder is one of the most misunderstood totems that's out there. He's all about honor, but he's also about the ends justify the means. But there's a catch to this. As long as you don't get caught. If you get caught, you are GNC in his eyes, general non-commissioning, or you are persona non grata, PNG'd, however you want to call it. But if you get caught, then obviously you were stupid. Grandfather Thunder will turn his support from you, as will many Shadow Lords, and you will be left to burn in your dishonor. And that's one of the things about the Shadow Lords. Every time they lose honor, they lose more honor. So they have to be very, very cunning and very, very meticulous in the way they do things so that they don't get caught on dishonorable actions. But the thing that's misunderstood about Grandfather Thunder is Grandfather Thunder also represents the winds of change. He believes that things change continually, and that strengthens it, and they should change. It's part of the reason that he is so obsessed with overthrowing Falcon's children, the Silverfangs. There needs to be a change. That's his belief. And those who truly follow him believe the same thing, that there needs to be a change. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the change is. I mean, hell, it could be changing out a Child of Gaia leader for a Silverfang leader. They're not particularly picky about what the change is. It just needs to happen. once you understand those things, you can design a good Shadow Lord. It's all about being smart. It's all about being cunning. It's all about being powerful. It's all about not getting caught. If you can pull those things off and you can test your leaders at the same time, you are truly a brilliant Shadow Lord. When designing a Shadow Lord, you need to keep in mind what kind you're playing. If you're going to be a physical monstrosity, obviously you're going to go physicals first. If you are going to be that politico, you're going to look at socials. And then mentals are always a wild card depending on what you're playing or how you're playing it. So you look at your traits. That's fine. Then you start looking at the other things like the abilities. Well, obviously your lores are going to be important. Subterfuge is one of the most important things for a Shadow Lord, because you never want to get caught in your lies, because you're playing a Shadow Lord. You're going to lie at some point. It's bit and parcel for this. You have to, almost, just because that's part of not getting caught. And outside of that, you're going to want to, you're just going to want to base things off of your auspice. You're going to want to base things off your retest for your gifts. They have some of the best gifts around. I mean, Fatal Flaw can be one of the nastiest things around, and of course they've developed the counter, which is Aura of Confidence. Everybody's favorite Clap of Doom, it exists there. The rollover. They've got some powerful gifts. They've got their own rights, and you got to understand some other stuff. A lot of times, since Shadow Lords are going to achieve things and they don't want people to know about them, they have what are called Shadow Moots. These tend to be moots that only Shadow Lords are invited to. And just because you're a Shadow Lord doesn't mean you're going to get invited. High-ranking Shadow Lord will be invited, and those that are targeted by the moot might very well be invited. A lot of the tribe's business is discussed there, the secret business, not the public business, or not the stuff that they feel needs to go to the lesser members. So it's almost like they have secret, semi-secret, semi-public, and public. Along with the Shadow Moots, you get some other things that just kind of, they're indigenous to the Shadow Lords. Shadow Lords play with something called clout. Clout is how much pull you have within the tribe. And this tribe is one of those ones that favors are the lifeblood. The more favors you do for people, the more clout you're going to have, because that means you can call on other people. It is a progressive, degressive type background. As you spend it, it gets less. As you do favors for other people and garner them, you get more in it. As you go up in rank, you get more. As you pull off successful stuff, you get more. And entirely too often, I don't see that background exploited by Shadow Lord players. Other than that, there's not a whole lot else I can talk about the Shadow Lords. They have their own right, seasonal right, called Right of the Open Claw, or is it Open Claw or Open Cup? Whatever. It's like a Japanese tea ceremony, and it's one of those things where if the Inceptor does not like you, views you as a threat, or happens to just have a mystical vision, you could be killed right then and there. But I'm not going to get into that, because that's for higher rank Shadow Lords, really. So I think I've covered all I need to cover with them. So if you're going to play a Shadow Lord, get your sneakiness on, get your creepiness on, because you're about as close to a horror movie as we're going to get in the game. Okay, I'm going to wrap that up. Next stop is the Jackals, Silent Striders. So, see you then.